welcome to ET Now Startup Central, India's first and only daily show dedicated to startups, technology and entrepreneurship. Today is a special day. The last 1 month has been a trial by fire for this entrepreneur who got into jail over what was seen as a civil dispute. Yogendra Vasupal, the co-founder and CEO of Stayzilla, joins us on ET Now Startup Central today all the way from Chennai. Yogi, we had you on the show, the day you announced that you are going to shut down and pivot to a different model. And thank you so much for taking time out after coming out from jail and joining us on ET Now. I can't thank you enough. I know this must be a difficult time, an emotional reunion for you with family as well. But what did you make of this outpouring of support that you saw in the startup ecosystem? In a way, did this make you feel stronger? Because it took you nearly a month to get bail.
So yes, it has been a very hard month, starting from March 14th when I was picked up on the road. I was actually expecting that this matter would be closed once we presented our documents and evidence, which I did only yesterday in the blog, and I could go along with my life. Next day I was supposed to go to Delhi and meet a lot of my ex-competitors to discuss the way forward as a B2B business. But instead, it did turn into an emotional roller coaster ride. Where initially there was a lot of fear, then after getting jailed there was some amount of acceptance, and then my family's turned to worry. Thankfully the support from the ecosystem is what kept us going, really speaking. When I was in prison, I met a couple of cases where it was of a similar nature, without delving into the rights or wrong of their case. But civil converted into criminal, and I had seen where businesses were completely ruined, family relationships were ruined for them. I'm just a very fortunate person, given the circumstances that I've been in. I would still consider myself the most fortunate person in that prison because of all the support that was there outside.
Yuki, this is a question that everyone is asking. Was there a clear terms of service agreement between Jigsaw and Stayzilla? And will that be enough to really hold in court? Can you hold them to account using this agreement over this, disputed amount? Because you say the services haven't been satisfactory. So is there a clear agreement between you and Jigsaw Advertising? This is something that people haven't been able to establish.
So see, I have been accused by my supporters of being too soft and too compassionate. The thing here is, even when I had put up the blog before I was arrested, I didn't want to take the words deceit, cheating. I was looking at him as a person with a great future, and I don't want to be the person to end up ruining it by throwing accusations which are valid and which can be backed by proof. So I utilized deficiency of service. But let me just right out say that basis the evidence that we have of photoshopped images as proof of delivery of hoardings that have been put up in 20 cities, and the way in which the whole matter has ended up getting converted into a criminal, with me getting legally kidnapped and my family members being put under immense pressure to settle. I really don't know if at this juncture I wouldn't want to call it a deficiency of services. I do think that there was an intentional effort to deceive and defraud, and we did have the proofs to it, and we were always a little bit taking care of their concerns, their side, addressing, I would say, that his future, because I've also been through what he has been through. I know how hard it can be and how sometimes the shortcuts can seem very appealing, and I did look at him as someone whom I was mentoring. There is no other reason for me to otherwise not press a charge 1 year back when we had started receiving these kind of falsified pictures as proofs. So the whole thing, the way it has turned out, I would say that if I have to look back, I still don't know if I would have done the things that I would have done, or would I have done it in some other way in terms of pressing charges early on, because that's just not me, right? I like to give people chance. I like to always believe that people make mistakes, but they make mistakes without the intention to hurt or harm someone, and you need to give that chance for people to correct. And the other side, other extreme is at any time you catch someone deceiving you, or you catch someone making a mistake, is to go completely legal. I've never done that in my life. I have always given people chances because I have been blessed with chances, and I believe that that's something that I have to pass on. So even today, if I have to look back, I don't know if if I was present in the same situation again, if I would take the path of pressing charges first, or if I would again want to give a chance. I mean, that's something that I've not been able to reconcile with myself. If I were to face a similar situation in the future, would I have the strength to give that space for people to correct their errors instead of jumping right ahead to protect my own skin? Because look at what has happened at the end of the day.
Yogi, you also, addressed the entire mental trauma that was associated with this arrest. I mean, you were in Chennai to perhaps talk it out, and you were hauled off the streets. That's what you've said in your blog. Even one of your earliest investors, Sharat Sharma, told us in an interview a few weeks back that there is political influence at play. Would you agree with that charge? Has this really become foul? Was there power, influence, other factors at play as far as this issue is concerned?
Yes, so see, I'll give you a rundown of the events quickly so that you might be able to see it in context. Jan was the first invoice that came from Jigsaw, which till then were never invoiced us for outdoor hoardings. It was always through a media agency. So that was a red flag for us, which internally we discussed, and we spoke with Aditya and informed him. He said that no, this is a change that he has brought it up, and this was discussed early on. We gave him the space and said, okay, give proof of deliveries, and these are the things that we require. We require vendor bills to you, because see, at the end of the day, I have a fiduciary responsibility. If I have found in my recce that sites that were worth 75,000 or 1 lakh were getting charged at 3 lakhs to me, I need to know whether it was being done by the media agency to Aditya or Aditya to me. If I just end up paying, tomorrow I could be hauled by my own board, or investors or any auditor stating that this was irresponsible of me. So having after giving him that chance and giving him that scope, he came back with pictures as proof of deliveries by totally for all the sites, I think by March or April. My team itself, this didn't come to me, this came to my team. My team looked at it and they said that this is clearly photoshopped, Yogi, what do we do? So I said that, see, in that case, let's not make any payment now. We don't know if Aditya is the one that is trying to, deceive us, or whether he is the one who's been deceived by the vendors, because it could also happen. So we passed along the concerns to him and told him that we require the documentation that we have asked before for us to be sure that the hoardings as stated in the pictures and as invoiced to us were actually live for the number of days that we are getting charged for. So this dragged on from March, April onwards. Once in a month, once in 45 days, Aditya would drop by and state that the vendors, some of the vendors are delaying, I'm still getting it done. The last official meeting that we had with him, official or unofficial meeting that we had with him, was on December 2nd, when he came to office in the morning and met up with Sachit, and he reiterated that all the documents that are required are just a week away, and for a couple of vendors, he requires an email from our side stating that so and so amount is there and there is some dispute. So Sachit sent a vaguely worded mail after in consultation with the lawyers. That same day evening, December 2nd evening, 2 people enter into our office and start abusing in front of women's staff. And Sachit calls me up and says, Yogi, we have been double crossed. You have given him too much space, because Sachit was doing his duty as a CFO. He was looking out for the company, and he was pushing me to go ahead and take the matters legally. And I was the one who looked at it and said, no, he is a small guy. Aditya is a small person, and it should not end up looking like we are stamping out somebody's future. After all, when we started the company, I was 22, 23, and I could only start it because of support from a lot of hoteliers who were elder than me. They just believed me on my words. So I wanted to pass that along. And that was the day when we stopped all communication with Aditya, all communications. And after that, we started receiving calls from one politically connected to the current government, one person who called up and said, why don't you come to our office? Sachit said that, see, regarding what? That person said, this is regarding Aditya's case, you have to make payment. So Sachit said that, see, there is no reason for us to come to your office. After all, see, this thing between two companies. Anybody calling up that I'm the MLA, I am the head of this district, that district, come to our office for mediation, when we don't know them, just didn't sound right to me also. So I told Sachit that, Sachit, in case you get a call like that again, please inform them to go to court. We'll look at it in the court, because that's the right way to do it. Again, here I'm not saying that a person like Aditya or his company does not have a right to justice. There can be misunderstandings, there can be disputes, but the way in which you try and seek justice also should be the right way, right? So this is the amount of trust that we have placed on him. But looking back, it looks like at every point he was planning what ended up happening, because the criminal case that was filed happened with political influence. The police who caught us, who took me in the car, who were clearly helpless. They've told me that they are also prisoners, situational prisoners, and there is not much that they can do. And they took me to the station, and that was for 8 hours they kept me. There were 2 or 3 times they asked me if I would like to settle, and I said no, I'm not going to settle. It has come to this much, and from now on I'm going to ensure that I clear my name. It is not a matter of settling, it's not a matter of mediation. There's a lot of allegation that was already put, and my principal, this is what I told the police, my principal does not let me settle, because if I pay now, then it means my team was wrong. The decisions that we took as a company 1 year back was wrong.
One more question, Yogi, that I have is, did you take all vendors into confidence before, announcing the decision to pivot to a new business, to shut down the existing business model? Was there a clear payment schedule in place? Just want to understand that part.
So see, let me give you some more information on vendors first. In 2016, right, actually the 12 months leading up to the blog post where we were talking about the reboot, as a company we had paid over 50 crores to multiple vendors, online, offline, everyone, right? And we also have a relationship with 55,000 hotels and properties all across India. So we planned a clear, internally we called it the last rights procedure. We had planned that. We informed the customers, we informed our suppliers, stating that bookings for beyond these date we are refunding to the customer, please collect it from the customer. Till these date check-ins we will be sending it to you. So we had taken that step, informed them, informed the employees. We had also informed vendors, where we did not have any disputes. See, there will always be vendors who have sent invoices like Aditya, and there is some dispute that is ongoing. We never got around to informing them, and even then the blog post that was put was a precursor for the outreach, because after the blog post was put, I met with online vendors in Delhi, met them in the office, told them that like this I am rebooting. I was never given the chance to even complete my official, see, there is it can't all happen within 1 day or 2 days. It is going to take 1 to 2 weeks process. It is a company that had relationship with over 60,000 businesses all across India, hotels, advertisements. Wherever we could mail, we have mailed. And there's just no time given to communicate with everyone. We have communicated with over 90%. I would say balance 10% there are, which we have not completed officially communicating. But these are disputed, and these were people whom I was about to meet when I was going to Delhi.
Yogi, towards the blog post yesterday, you said despite all this, despite this intimidation, these doctored pictures, you are willing to forgive and forget. If Aditya from Jigsaw is able to establish some proof, some documents for these transactions, just want to understand, how should we read into this forgive and forget sentence? Does it mean you're open to settling this matter once and for all out of court? If there's cooperation from both parties, how should we read into the forgive and forget sentence?
See, settle suggests that there is a middle ground. I would like to first state there is no middle ground. Provided that those documents reach us and we validate it with those vendors, with the vendors who ended up putting the hoardings, then there is no question of settling. We owe Aditya, we owe his company. Let him produce that. There is no question of settling, we owe it, we will pay it. In the absence of producing those documents, and I am not asking only for the hoardings, given the way this has turned, I have my suspicions that this element of deceit or defraud has been taking place before that. We are asking for these documents for campaigns that we have done from 2014, because that lets us also evaluate if we caught the issue only in January 2016, but it pre-existed that, or because it's a heights of coincidence that the first time he tried to do something, we ended up catching it. There is a chance that even before also these things happened, but we did not catch it. So I am telling there is no question of settling. It's black and white. Either he is right or we are right. There is no middle ground in this. And if he is right, he deserves every single rupee that he is charged us for.
Yogi, this entire episode has also questioned this whole Startup India mission. If there needs to be better laws to shut down startups in terms of the ease of also shutting businesses because the probability of failure is so high. Would you agree with that? That, is this a letdown as far as Startup India is also concerned?
So see, startups, we have a great ecosystem, but I think this case needs to be looked at a little more broader sense. This is about civil and criminal. What is civil in this country and what is criminal in this country? Right? In every other country, if we have to become a developed nation, and we will, right? It's just a matter of time. We are finding the right solutions for problem as we encounter. But if we have to become developed, if we have to, reach the heights of science and technology and entrepreneurship that we want to, then we require a very clear guideline coming down from top, from the central government, from the Supreme Courts, as to what is civil, what is criminal. It can't be that, civil disputes. I have met people inside who are shop owners. Two partners ended up having a dispute. One guy had influence and he's put the other guy inside jail for the last 6 months. This is the reality that I have seen, right? I didn't think that the situation would be as bad as I got to know it is. We need clear laws that differentiate civil and criminal. And I don't want to get into whether it is for startups. It's for all business. Startups are also business. We take on more risks because we don't build lifestyle businesses. We look to, grow big or go home. That's pretty much our motto, right? But there are enough lifestyle businesses, 1.3, 1.4 crore SMEs, to whom also this applies. Knowing that, disputes that are civil will remain civil will strengthen the hands of businessmen, traders, entrepreneurs all across India, including startups.
But Yogi, what about the other side? A lot of small startups, have been telling us in the last few weeks that there seems to be a bias towards VC-funded startups vis-a-vis non-VC funded ones. Would you agree with that? Because, a lot of people came back and said, hey, you know what, Jigsaw is also a startup. So why is only one startup getting all the attention and all the sympathy here?
See, there have been efforts to create divisions. After I came out, when I was going through, I saw that there were clear efforts to create divisions across startups, VC funded startups, non-VC funded startups, tech startups, non-tech startups. I mean, all these are really not useless. I mean, these are useless parameters through which to view the issue. I mean, I have to put it out in a blatant fashion as this, because let me again reiterate, this is about what is civil, what is criminal. There is a case where a witness who signed a land agreement 22 years back is now in prison. That's the law of this country. That's what we need to be focusing on. We need to be focusing on providing the ecosystem. It's not for me. It's for my kids. I don't want to end up telling my kids, don't start a business. Or if you want to start a business, go to US and start a business. They should have a right to do it here. It's not a big ask. It's not a very selfish ask. It's just telling what is civil, what is criminal. These things are under the ambit of civil. At least today, looking at my own personal case, there is enough evidence that we have put out. And it's not evidence that I have put out, by the way. Aditya has been kind enough to share the same pictures with every single journalist he's touched base with. It wouldn't have taken a lot of time to go through the pictures and find what we had found. So the evidence is out there as to the deceit. So my case only strengthens my hands. I am talking about something larger. We cannot build companies that can go global from India without this. The only companies that are built like that have been serving global customers. I am sure that if Infosys and TCS had started with Indian customers, they would have hit a limit, and beyond that they wouldn't have been able to grow because of all these kinds of stuff.
Yogi, I have to disagree with you on some things that you said, because at least at ET now we have ensured that, this is rounded coverage, views from every party, not just one. But coming to another aspect, which is the investor's role. Now, Matrix found itself in a soup when they took down your logo from their, investment portfolio a few days back. So tell us what the role of investors has been as far as this entire issue is concerned. Have VCs really played their role?
See, you know what, them taking down Stayzilla logo from their website happened before this incident happened, and that's a discussion that we had, right? The thesis with which they have invested into our company was that we were a marketplace, B2C focused on rooms, and we are looking at pivoting into a B2B model, which means that I also require a clean start, right? The discussions go beyond just pulling down the logo from the website. In terms of the future share capital issuance and a lot of other things, we have had discussions internally to see how we can continue to support each other while still we can follow our own paths. And it has all been amicable and understandable on both sides. Having said that, right, see, here's what our investors have done. I've been very fortunate in that regard. Every single case hearing, investors from both the companies, Matrix and Nexus, were there with my family helping them. They ensured that I got the best lawyer to represent. They even came to prison to meet me twice, not once. And each time you have to come, you have to wait for 2 hours. It's not. I don't know. I know of a lot of people whose own family members didn't come to meet them when they were inside. And these are investors. These are just supposedly business relationship. It's beyond that. So in my opinion, this is the kind of support that matters. When the proverbial thing hits the fan, you require them on the ground with you, in the trenches with you. And these are investors who have resigned from the company. There is no particular reason for them to be there supporting, or to even tell, do you want to settle? We are there to help.
Finally, Yogi, it said hindsight is always 20/20, but what have your biggest learnings been in the last 1 month from this entire episode that you would like to share with everyone?
See, the learnings here are a bit confusing because it depends on who and what I am. To not face such a situation that I have faced, where despite us being completely on the right all along, having been thrown into jail, the only way I can avoid that is being cautious in the future. I'm an entrepreneur. I can't be too cautious, right? I need to trust people. I need to trust. That's the element of risk that we operate in. These are risks, and these are not new. These are not risks that I didn't know. In fact, I had told Avnish sir, when I had first met him, one of the reasons that I want to work with him is because he's gone to jail. I used to intern with one entrepreneur in 1999 who had started a train ticket, Indian IRCTC train ticket booking website. Unfortunately, got thrown into jail because he didn't have the license. And there was no IRCTC then that you have now. So I knew what it is to be an entrepreneur in India. So I have repeatedly asked myself this question. I know what the learnings are, but if I implement it, I probably am not going to be the entrepreneur that I am. I'm still confused. I've still not yet decided. I'm probably going to look at how this case plays out. At the end of the day, here's my belief, right? Your actions can be 100% right, but if your intentions are not right, you will lose in the end. But if your intentions are right, and here and there you are not right in your actions, it doesn't matter. You will still win in the end. That's my belief, and my belief still holds. So I would say that at this juncture, I understand the risks even more, having personally faced it, and it's not second hand. But whether I want to take it as a learning experience and change myself into a more cautious individual in terms of how much I trust and how much space I give people, because that's me. You ask people who have worked with me, they will tell you that is me. Or whether I should completely swing to the other side, I've still not decided. That's still a work in progress.
Yogi Vasupal, thank you so much for that. I hope it helps a lot of entrepreneurs really derive strength in tough times. But thank you again so much for that interview, and a big shout out actually to my colleague Rahul Daima, who convinced you to give us this big interview. But thank you so much for that. And we will be bringing you more updates on this issue. But with that, we come to the end of this special episode of ET Now Startup Central. Thanks so much for watching.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at @etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/etnow.